Hey, what's going on, good people? Armand Owens here once again with another episode of the Daily Unsung Leadership Nugget, and continuing on with our series, 30 Days of Leadership Hacks. And today is day number 8, where I want to talk a little bit about using your imagination as your ally, your advocate, as your friend. And why do I say that? Well, typically, we don't think about our imaginations in terms of use as in terms of a tool, right? We think of our imagination a lot of times as our enemy, right? Because the negative use of our imagination shows up in the form of anxiety, worry, pulling our hair out, thinking about events that haven't occurred yet, right? Running things out, running scenarios out to its worst possible end and thinking that's reality. That's not using your imagination in the best way possible. So, give you a little story. I am in Rhode Island going to school prior to becoming a chief of the boat. And I am terrified, right? Because I'm just thinking about the weight of a responsibility of being the head honcho, so to speak, in charge of my own submarine. And so I'm walking up the shoreline. If you get a chance to go to Rhode Island on the shore, it's absolutely phenomenal. Getting a chance to walk, and there's old money mansions, like huge mansions in the background, and the water on the cliffs is awesome. But anyway, so I'm just walking, and I got my coffee in the morning, and I wanted to take a break away from school, away from everybody, to kind of clear my head as I'm grasping the reality of what's about to occur over the next few years of my life. And so I'm just really worried about how I'm going to do, because you have a sense of how you want to perform. You have an idea of how things are going to play out, but you just don't know. And your mind begins to play tricks on you. And you start to worry, and you start to conjure up these images of failure. And I'm in the process of conjuring up images of failure at this moment as I'm walking, up the shoreline. But then, I start to think about, well, what if it doesn't go bad? What would be the best case scenario? What would I want to happen? What is the blueprint of a successful cob tour for me? And, so I started to think about this. Like, well, I guess from a production standpoint, if we were awarded the battle E, for excellence, if the Chiefs mess that is on my boat, if we were to be awarded, the best Chiefs mess, in that squadron, which is an actual award in the submarine force for every squadron. And I started to think about these things, and I was like, man, it'd be really, really cool, to win, to be awarded those things. And I remember one of my mentors telling me that, hey, man, you don't really have a passion for cleanliness. Well, in the submarine force, cobs have to have a passion for cleanliness, have to be, making sure that that all of our spaces is absolutely spotless is a big part of our jobs. And I thought that we put a lot of needless time in that preparation, in getting to that point. So he was always saying that, I don't think you have a passion for this. I don't think you have a passion for this. And I was like, it would be awesome if I just, got excellence in CPS, which is a kind of a marker for a cob. Get excellence in CPS along the way as well. So I started to think about these accolades, started to think about these things, and I let my imagination, run wild in the positive direction. I let my imagination begin to run wild in the positive direction. And in that moment, I was extremely excited because not only that I get excited for the possibility, but I start to feel amazing in those moments. Start to feel, and nothing had actually occurred. I hadn't done a thing at that point. I hadn't even showed up to the boat, but I'm imagining winning, imagining all these good things coming to pass, imagining all of these accolades, instead of worrying and thinking all the bad things are going to occur. So almost by accident, right, I began to utilize my imagination as an ally, as an advocate. And anytime, things, I'll get indicators that things are going wrong, to build me back up, I will revisit my imagination going in, I'll revisit my imagination, revisit those things going in a positive direction, thinking about, those outcomes, those positive outcomes instead of thinking about the negative outcomes. Because so many times we focus on the negative, that I believe that because we focus so much on the negative, we make it a self-fulfilling prophecy, and we bring those things into our present because our focus is where our energy goes, right? So my energy is going towards that negative, and that's the street I'm driving down if I'm focused on it. When in turn, I take my focus off of the negative. Put my focus on the positive outcomes that I want to occur, and I drive down that street. The likelihood of those coming to pass are pretty darn good. It turns out that's what happened. 2 battle E's, 2 excellence in CPS, an amazing deployment. Chiefs mess won the top Chiefs mess during my tour. I mean, all the things that I hoped for, all the things that I was imagining came to pass because that's what I continue to put my focus at. I use my imagination as my ally rather than my enemy. And continue to revisit that. Continue to focus on that. Continue to drive down that road instead of driving down the road of negativity. Because I knew exactly where that was going to lead. If I focused on that, that's exactly where we're going to go. Now, there's a story about an individual that's being taught to learn how to drive a sports car. And they're driving on the track, and they're going 100 plus miles per hour, and they got to make this insane turn. And in an effort to teach the individual how to drive, you have to put that person in that scenario. And while they're going, they begin to drive, and they're driving above 100 miles per hour, and they get locked in on the wall. Get completely locked in on the wall because they don't want to hit the wall. They're terrified of the wall, so they focus on the wall. And the driver's like, "No, don't look at the wall. Look at where you have to go. You have to make this turn and go that way. If you continue to look down that way, you're going to hit the wall. Turn your head and look that way. Turn your head, look that way." But every single time, head would drift and look at the wall. Head would drift and look at the wall. Head would drift and look at the wall. So they get so close that the teacher has to literally grab the individual's head, push his head towards the positive outcome, and begin to go that way. And they got that close to the wall, but they never hit the wall. Because it's where your focus goes. That's where your energy flows. That's the road that you drive down. Use your imagination as your advocate, as your ally. That's what it's there for. That's what it's there for. Don't use it as an enemy. Don't look at it as an enemy. Set in your mind the outcome that you want and drive down that path rather than focus on your energy on what could possibly negatively occur. Your imagination could be a major key in your success in leadership. It definitely was mine and still is to this day. I never go into a situation without having an idea and a constructed imagination about what I want to occur, and I drive down that road, put my energy towards that outcome. So use your imagination as your advocate, as your ally. instead of as your enemy. So that is day number 8 of my leadership hacks. Some of these have been generated by myself. Some of these have been stolen from other places, from people that are much more smarter than I. But I put it all in one place for you to access. So let me know what you think. Comment, share, give me some feedback. Let me know if you use your imagination for good or for bad. And let me know how it's gone for you. I'll be back with another edition, day number 9 of 30 Days of Leadership Hacks. Unsung Leader, out.